Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. There is no better place to buy a boat. That's their slogan, and that is a fact. You can travel anywhere from Atlanta to Nashville. You're not going to find a place with better selection of boats. And the great thing about Madisonville Marine is, you don't have to go to multiple places to examine ski boats. And now let's go over here and look at pontoons, and we're going to go over here and look at fishing boats. They've got them all on one lot and under one roof in one great big showroom. Madisonville Marine. That's your one-stop shop if you are in the boat hunting business right now. Madisonville Marine. All right, back with Jimmy, Bob, and Chuck. And the coaches poll was released this week. And let's take a look at, here's what's on Tennessee's schedule. All right, that's a tall task for them. Alabama, so Tennessee plays 2 of the top 3 teams in the nation, Alabama and Oklahoma. They play 3 of the top 9 when you toss South Carolina in. 5 of the top 19 when you put Georgia and Ole Miss in there. Missouri would have come in 26th, Florida would have come in 27th, and 4 of those are on the road. Here's your quick question. Tennessee's schedule, is it tougher or easier than last year's, which was referred to as the toughest in UT history?
I'm going to for right now say it's easier for one reason. This time last year, we didn't know that you had the runner-up for the national title on your schedule. Auburn jumped up, and so that makes last year's schedule, to me, tougher. But do you have that same potential of happening this year that a team's going to jump up that you're not expecting? Because I think before the season, most people thought Auburn's coming here. Tennessee will beat them. They were, what, 3-9?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And Auburn had been winless, I think, the year before in the SEC. I think this schedule is tough, just looking at the number of bowl teams that you have coming in here that made it to postseason play. And several of those teams did well and coming in on an upbeat of having a good season. I mean, and how good Utah State.
That's the key.
That, and Bob has pointed that out, and I've thought about that, and I agree more, than I did when I heard that. But I mean,
that's the most important game.
Yes.
To me, that's the big difference. The SEC is always going to be tough, but you don't have Auburn at home. You got Ole Miss on the road, and Ole Miss should be a pretty good team this year. But the thing that's different is your non-conference slate. You got one breather. Chattanooga's a breather. Utah State and Arkansas State are quality football teams. Now, you may beat them. You may be favored to beat them. They're quality football teams. They're better than some of the junk that Tennessee has brought in here in non-conference schedules. Tougher or easier?
I think it's tougher, and it was pointed out there are 9 bowl opponents. 7 of them won their bowl games. Here's the other thing that I think makes it tougher. You're going to South Carolina, you're going to Georgia. I don't care where you play Alabama. That's hard.
Yeah.
But to me, Tennessee has a much, much better chance to beat South Carolina and Georgia at home than on the road. And so, to me, that contributes to this one being tough.
Well, we showed that about a month ago that South Carolina is a 500 team over the last 4 or 5 years on the road, but at home they've won 18 straight. So that's going to be a tough one.
I want to retract my answer.
Okay. All right. Need to really hurry up on this one, guys. This year's Tennessee team is reportedly trying to create a tighter bond within the squad, more team activities, more group functions. They're looking for fewer cliques. In other words, the linebackers aren't going to go do one thing while the O-line do something else. They want to mix it up. They want to do things as a group. They've got an idea that no player, no teammate ever eats alone. No child left behind. I like that. Like last year, no players will be allowed in the bars during season, which is pretty good. But will any of that result in more victories?
Well, I mean, that's hard to say, but I think it does result in better team chemistry, especially with 32 new players coming in. And you got to, this brick by brick stuff, there is some things to that about laying the foundation. So, I mean, will it for sure? No, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I agree.
Maybe not in 14, but 15 and 16.
It may make a difference in one win.
Okay.
5-7 to 6-6 perhaps, but that's about. The other thing I like about what they were doing is that they had position groups going to a different coach. In other words, the running backs went to the secondary coach's house for dinner, and vice versa, and they were mixing that up, which I thought was a neat idea.
That is good. That is good. I think that the coaching staff seems to know how to push the right buttons for these guys, and that's the other thing. Much of this is being done by the team leaders. A lot of this is being done by the players, which has to be a positive step in the eyes of Butch Jones. Last one, Georgia Tech coach Paul Johnson revealed this week that Tennessee and Georgia Tech could open the 2017 season in Atlanta in the new home of the Falcons. And we showed that a few months ago when they were doing the design. That's the one that has the Oculus, the circle in the middle that opens up on the stadium. And they're going to have the seats that are like a video game. They have the rumble seats, so when there's a big hit on the field, your seat shakes. I was going to ask, is this a good idea? And I'll just go ahead and say it's not a good idea. It's a great idea.
Yes.
Tennessee, Georgia Tech need to play more often, and that sounds like a great game.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I mean
agree.
that's the game that I want to see every year anyway. So yeah.
And especially Georgia is such a big recruiting state for Tennessee.
Yep.
Go there, and that is your stage to showcase your program everywhere you're wanting to recruit.
And to be able to sit in a rumble seat at the same time.
That's right.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah.
And I think they've played over 40 times, Tennessee and Georgia Tech in history. I like the matchup. I like the venue. I think it's a great idea.
That's a great idea. All right. How does Tennessee's title drought, and it's a long one, how does it compare to the other Big Six or the other Big Five? There are 6 of them, Tennessee's one of them. How does it compare to the other SEC powers? What kind of troughs have they been stuck in the past? Come on back, we're going to give you some perspective on the Sports Source.